I can put them on real quick.
Put them on. What's up,
Okay,
everybody?
cool.
This is Eric Matta from New Life Media Marketing and Productions. I got my man Blake Shaffer from LWS Tax and Accounting. He just realized at the last second he forgot his headphones, but that's okay. We are live. We said 11 o'clock. We're going on. We got a ton of good stuff we want to cover today. I'm going to try to keep this to about 30 minutes, but Blake is such a powerhouse of an influence and entrepreneur that I could probably pick his brain for an hour. But we'll just see how it goes. But I'm super excited that he's here today. So I've just got this shared to my page, and I think he's probably sharing it to his 200,000 followers he's got all over the world. And
Yeah.
good deal, my man. So Blake Shaffer, what's up, my dude? How is working from home treating you?
Oh man, it's been really good. I've been able to get so much time with my family, and just a surprise blessing from that. So I've enjoyed the time with my family, and like it's slowed down a little bit. Like when you're in the office every day with the 16 people in our office, you just like everything is go 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 go, and so it's nice to have a little bit of a break. Like I hate what we're going through. I hate that people are losing their lives, they're
Yeah,
losing
man.
their business, they're losing everything. But man, I hate this taking this, but I know a lot of entrepreneurs have enjoyed the moment to be able to slow down,
Yep.
to think through, to get more time with family. So there are blessings you can find in these difficulties. So that's what I'm just trying to do. But for us, the family time has been awesome. So I've been
Yeah.
thankful and blessed with that.
Good deal, my man. Good deal. Yeah, it's one. I've been working from home for a few years, so it's not been that much of a change for me. I've been kind of used to it, but it's been nice to see people adapt. So is this the first time you've had to put a jacket on in about a month or what?
I every once in a while I get real dressed up just to come down to see what my wife does.
Yeah.
But I was going to be out here without this, but it's kind of cold, so I had to go put on a jacket to stay warm, or still wasn't going to wear it.
Yeah. John Helmick says Blake has a great haircut. Where'd you get the haircut, my man? Who faded you up?
My wife did it. She's the
Yeah.
third haircut already. She's killing it.
She hooked you up there, my man. She did a great job. Good deal.
Thanks,
So,
John.
man, there's a ton of stuff that I want to pick your brain on. Like, you have been in the trenches for a long time, and I got a ton of respect for you. I mean, you've helped guide me throughout my process and of getting my business up and running, and just taking the leap of faith, man. So, my first question for you, Blake, is first off, how old are you right now?
I'm 37.
They're young. Young,
Yeah, dude.
long life ahead of you. So, first question with that: how old were you when you first started LWS, and why did you start it?
So I was 25, and I started it because honestly, I had a professor at Wright State. His name was Dr. Talbot, and I was just a dorky dude, and I didn't really have a lot of confidence in myself. And I didn't see what he saw in me. And he came up to me my senior year, and he said, "I need to speak to you after class." And I was like, "Oh man,
Wow.
this isn't going to be good." I thought I was getting it. He's going to say something bad. And he told me that I needed to look at owning my own business when I graduated after I got a couple years in, because he said that I had two things. He said most accountants have no personality, and the ones that do aren't very good. And he goes, "You've got both," and I didn't see that in myself at all. And so I just went and got a job, and I thought that's what I was supposed to do, and I hated life. I hated it so much. I'm like, this cannot be my life. I did not just go to school and plan my life out for this. And so I just thought, oh, maybe it's the job. So I quit my job and started another job. Worked for a great dude. Same thing happened. Terrible employee. Hated every minute of it, but I liked the work. And so it was just like a natural thing for me on the inside to think, man, I'm an entrepreneur. I've got to go start my own business. So I just went out at 25. My wife and I had a special needs son. I carried our insurance, and we had just bought our first house. And I quit my job.
Yeah.
I straight up quit my job. And so that's why I did it. I wanted to have more family time. I also just knew like that's who I was. Like I was going to die if I did it from the inside out, if I couldn't control my own destiny, basically.
Good deal. Why accounting? Where did that seed get planted from?
It's so funny how these things happen. Like I was a senior, and I thought people were going to laugh, but I thought my whole life I was going to be a Major League Baseball player. I'm
Yeah.
5'6", and so I was good, but I wasn't that good. I mean, so I once you realize you weren't going to be a Major League Baseball player at like 16 because everybody was better than you, you start to have to think about things that you're good at. And so I was really good at math,
Yep.
which has nothing to do with accounting. But I was like, oh, I'm really good at math. And I'm talking to my dad one night. He goes, you should try accounting. So I was like, all right. And so I I went to school at Wright State, and I really liked the first couple of accounting classes, and then so it was just kind of off from there. It kind of just worked. It wasn't a dream or a desire. It was just kind of one of those things that happened.
Good deal. And you've been in love with it ever since?
You know, I'm definitely an entrepreneur more than an accountant. Like sitting down at a desk for 8 hours and doing something is not my style. Numbers just kind of click in my head. So like understanding a profit and loss and a balance sheet to help someone be more successful, it kind of just clicks. Doing a tax return does click in my head and work, but I would way rather sit and project out or plan a business or a marketing plan or something like that to help something grow. Yeah. So it's kind of like my skill was accounting. That was the thing I could market because that was the thing that I knew. And then I'm much more an entrepreneur of growing an accounting business than the accountant in the business doing the work.
Good deal. Good deal. So at 25, that's super young to start a business, right? So tell me, and, you know, and I'm sure you could speak all day on it, but what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced at 25 years old, starting your own business right here in Springfield? Like what were the big challenges that you remember looking back on?
Well, I started it in November of 2008, which was the beginning of the collapse of the economy. So that was a massive challenge. I had no money, and no money at all. And so I come from a pretty, you know, not like a poor family, but like my parents had me at like 18 and 16, super young. They didn't have anything. They don't come from families with much. And so my whole life was like, you know, we were like lower middle class. We didn't have a lot of opportunities. And so it was same for me. I just out of college, I don't have any money. I'm in debt. I got a house, credit card debt. And so like the biggest challenge was I had nothing. So like I had to figure out everything. While I was starting LWS, I started a moving company and I was moving people's houses. I was teaching adjunct classes at Clark State. I was basically doing anything I could to get $1 to help pay for my bills in my house and to grow my accounting firm. So that was a massive struggle in the middle of a really bad economy. So I would say that that's one big one right there.
So I want to hear you correctly. 2 businesses, adjunct professor, adjunct staff at Clark State. I didn't know that about you. The hustle doesn't stop, does it? At 25 years old, that's crazy, man. Like that is, you know, some would say, well, God, I wouldn't want no part of that. But, you know, the entrepreneur mindset is like, yes, that's how you start. That's where you know what I'm saying, you build your roots at right there. So good deal, man. So, okay, so let me ask you this. What was your strategy to get customers when you first started LWS? Like, how did you think, did you ever envision you were going to have this, you know, big office with staff and like people, or did you think you were just going to be working by yourself, or like, what was your thought when you first started?
My thought was if I could get probably 2 employees to help me, I was going to be super successful. That's what I thought. Yeah. And so I would have never guessed in a million years. Like Brian Plank and I talk all the time. Like we sit sometimes in the office and go, man, how did this happen? Because Brian was the dude I went to high school with. He was the same age as me. He had no idea what he really wanted to do. And so he's like, yeah, I'll do this with you. I'll see what happens. And he worked for free for a while. We never imagined in a million years that it would turn out to the success that it's turned out to. What else? I don't forget what you asked me now.
Yeah. So like, what was your strategy? Like, what did you, a lot of people, right, will start a business and they think, okay, I got this business. Now people are just magically going to want my products or services. Like, in your mindset, because I know you're that marketer at mine too. Like, what was your strategy? Like when you first started, like, how am I going to get customers? What was your thought process there?
One thing that always clicked, and like to not sound too cocky, because I'm not, I joke about it sometimes, but I'm really not, is one thing that I've always been really good at as a business owner is I go, okay, where are people? Yep. And wherever people are, that's where I'm going to go. And so this was before anyone was really, Facebook started to really hit for businesses like early 2020 teens, like 11, 12, 13, really started to take off for businesses. And so in 2008, you know, a Facebook post was going to get you basically nothing. There were no ads. People couldn't figure out how to upload a video yet. And so we created all these cards with discounts, and we delivered them to every single business, every single year, to every person in our community. And if you lived in Springfield from 2008 to 2012, you know what I'm talking about. There's a little card that I put in every single business in the entire city every year. And that really grew our business to begin with.
Good deal. So just getting your name and getting your business out in front of people. Where's the eyeballs at? I like that. Good deal.
Yeah, wherever they were at, restaurants, shops, anywhere that people would show up to the library, you were going to see my card a bunch of times.
Okay. So
Yep.
so in the beginning, it's cards, it's print, it's getting postcards out to people and stuff like that. So how did you, and you know, and during that time, like, so where did you start to make the transition from like, okay, here's marketing, like cards and business, you know, drop offs and stuff like that? Like, when did you start to dive into like the Facebook, the online world, the videos and stuff? Because you got some videos on the LWS page. You young looking young Blake, for real, good ones
So
too.
I got lucky. So, I was in college when Facebook hit. And so it was really cool and we were all into it. And so I grew up basically as I became an entrepreneur and started a business. Facebook was the thing. That was it.
Right.
And so I understood it really well because it hit when I was I think Wright State got it when I was a junior, maybe a senior. And so it couldn't have hit at a better time. I understood it better than anybody else understood it. And so I was able to take that knowledge and then figure out on that platform, how are the people who are on that platform who were my age? There were no parents on there yet. There were no grandparents. It was only people who were my age in their 20s, maybe in their 30s. And so I felt like I knew how to bring them video and picture content and different things that would interest them and bring them entertainment. Then in return, it would just be like, I got to follow that page because it's fun. They're the first ones that are fun on here. And that in turn just went, oh, if I need to get my taxes done and they're my age, they're calling me because that's the only one they know about because they're all on Facebook and nobody else is there. And so I got really lucky.
That's such a beautiful strategy too. It's almost like counterintuitive what you think a good marketing strategy would be, you know? Even myself, I think, well, how can I get people to know what I do, right? My product, you know, the services that I offer and stuff like that. So, where did you get that idea? And I know you've been a big fan of Gary Vee for a while and you've hung out with him and you've done some cool stuff with him as well. But like, when did you first, like, where did that idea come from that I just want to entertain people? Like, I want people to have a good experience on Facebook. Like, how did that thought process happen?
You know, so many times in business, like you can try every strategy and it doesn't work out. And you're like, what in the world? And legit, dude, sometimes you just got to try everything and something's going to hit.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my gosh, I would have never thought about that. So Brian and I were playing basketball in our office every day on this little basketball hoop. And one day we're like, let's record it and just post it. And we had been posting all kinds of information from the IRS and all these videos you got to pay all this money for. And we get pretty good engagement. But we posted a video of us just playing basketball in the office being silly. And it went crazy. And we're like, okay, people want to interact with us, with the stuff we like to do that we think is fun. They think it's fun. So we're like, let's just be ourselves and post silly stuff. And it went nuts.
Nice.
And from there, we just went crazy. So again, it's like, just try everything and whatever works, go for it. Like try. A lot of times, especially on Facebook, but things have changed a lot in the last 10 years. But at the beginning, everybody went for entertainment. So they didn't want to learn the new tax strategy. They wanted to see you living life and having fun.
Right. It's working well for you, my man. You've done a great job with it.
We've kept that going for all these years and all the different crazy videos we've done. It's been fun.
So, you know, with your video strategy, like, because I've been to the office and you've got about 9 cameras down there, something like that. You've invested heavily, right? You have invested heavily in that. So, at what point, like, when you first started, like, was it you behind the camera? Were you editing these videos, or did you just we're like, you know what, I'm going to hire somebody to do this, or were you like, how did that evolve for you?
At first, it was just us on the phone. At first, for sure, like probably the first 8 years were us on the phone until my friend Ethan Dewhurst kind of came around, and he took our videos to a complete next level. You can watch our videos up until like 2015, 2016. And they were good, but they were all iPhone camera videos where the quality wasn't that great. The cuts were very cut. There were no transitions.
Right.
And Ethan comes along and freaking killed it for us and took us to another level. And then he kind of moved out to Columbus, and we hired a full-time videographer to be in our, not full-time, he's there about 25 hours a week. And he just is there all day putting out really good content for us because we realized video is king on marketing, especially on social media marketing. And so, you know, guys like you are incredibly important right now. Can take your businesses to the next level. But if you watch all of our videos, they're a little bit grainy. Yep. Their cuts are a little bit whatever. They're not that great. And then, bam, they kind of took off because we hired a company to help us take care of that.
I believe I've watched every single one of them. You guys have done a great job. You've done a great job. Good deal.
Thanks, dude.
Blake, so tell me a little bit about what do you think the common myths are when it comes to marketing and advertising and you know, business startup and stuff like that? What are some things that people think are true that you just have from experience has not been true for you?
A common myth is that if you just do something, it's going to work. Like, that is absolutely crazy. If I could just get a video out, we would grow our business. Like, people think that stuff all the time. And people pay crazy amounts of money or all this time to put a video out that nobody cares about and content that nobody cares about. So that's one of the biggest ones. And like, I'll call someone after they put out a video and I'm like, how'd that go for you? Like, it did nothing. And I'm like, well, the content wasn't what the platform wanted. It wasn't what you didn't then index that and push it out on ads to people that care about what you do. Like, you just threw it out there with another million things and thought it was going to work. Like, people just like throw stuff at a dartboard and they're like, hey, that's going to work because other people are doing videos and it's super successful. But other people do videos for their following, for the platform they're on, and then it's successful. And so one of the worst things is, if I can just get a Facebook video out there, it's going to be super successful and our business will grow. Or if I can just get this out there or have this, it's going to work. Like, you have to put in the work to figure out the people who want to work with you. How are they taking content on the platform you're going for, and how are they going to then take your content and like it or share it to people? Because I'm trying to think of an exact example, but the guy on LinkedIn from 8 to 5 and the guy on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube from two different ways for them to interact with your content and show it to other people. And so, or want to buy from you. So you got to know who the heck you're talking to and what platform you're talking to them on. That's what's interesting, because I'll see a business post a video on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn and expect them all to do something. I'm like, guys, it's 4 completely different platforms. Like, it's different people coming in a different way to each one with a different mentality every time they click on. And when you don't go to LinkedIn for entertainment, you don't go to Facebook for to be told this very specific thing about your industry. Like, it's just interesting. And that's probably the biggest myth, is that if they just do it, it's going to work.
Yep. So, and I think a lot of people will hear, like, you know, Gary Vee talks a lot about posting content everywhere, getting it all out, just getting as much as you can out there, you know? So, and I know you've spent, so what's your experience been like? I know we've talked a little bit about it, but you spent the whole day with him. I know you've got pictures of him where you were like front row and behind the stage and stuff like that. So what have you learned from Gary Vee? And more importantly, why did you make that investment into yourself, into your business, to spend time with him? And what did you get back from it? Tell me about that.
So I'm going to say this again, and I don't want to say this too many times, but I got lucky. So I worked for this though a little bit. So I emailed Gary before he was big time, every once in a while. And I would say, hey man, this video you put out today was amazing.
Nice.
Thank you so much. I used that and got 10 new clients in 2 days. Wow. Thanks to you. And he emailed me back every once in a while and say, thank you for that. And then one day I got an email from him and said, hey, I want you to come to New York and spend some time with my team. And I'm like, what? You want me to do what? And so I flew to New York, spent a whole day with him and a bunch of other successful people and watched him run his business. And what I learned from the guy was, like, he's just like everybody else. Like, he's a marketing genius, but there are people in Springfield that are just as smart as him at marketing. He just goes for everything. He listens to everyone around him. He never, like, when you spend time with him, when he comes off on camera as he's always right or he knows everything, he is so, like, in the moment. He listens to everything everyone says and he tries it. And then if it doesn't work, you don't do it. If it works, it works. And he doesn't care if it's, like, the stuff people would say, he'd be like, that's so smart. Let's do that today. Let's not wait till tomorrow. Let's do that today. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's why this guy's a freaking genius, because he's tried everything. He doesn't care if it sucks or if it doesn't go well. He's just going to try it. And it might work. It might not work. But the dude's tried. He's failed 100 times before you've even tried. And now he's found 60 things that work. And he's a world away from you're ever going to be, because you sat and talked for a week and a half about it.
Yep.
So that's what I learned a lot. And so my wife is always like, dude, you're doing something else today? And I'm like, I just go. Yep. I just go. If I think it's going to work, or even if it's not, let's just try it and see what happens.
You know,
my good friend Jeff Foreman is like, Foreman's like, dude, I don't know how you do it. Like, how do you never stop thinking, and how do you never stop trying stuff? Because he's like, I just don't get how you do it.
It's what it takes, my man. You know what's funny is like if you go to Gary Vee's YouTube page and go back to his first Wine Library TV and watch that video, like it's the same Gary Vee that you see today in front of the. He's got the same style, the same swag, the same tone of voice, right? The same
Yep.
facial expressions. Like he's just stepped his game up over time, man. So
Yeah.
I agree 100%. So,
Anybody can do what he's done, and he would tell you that. He's just going to work harder than you. If you work hard enough and try to find it, you'll be successful. It's just everybody's lazy.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to put in all the work to figure it out.
So how many years ago was this that you went out there and spent the day with him?
I think it was, gosh, I'm trying to think. It was either 3 or 4 summers ago, so 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, so when you came back after that event, what changed immediately? Like, what did you decide in that experience that when you brought back to Springfield, you're like, this is changing, this is done, this is what we're doing. Like, what changed?
What changed is none of the marketing stuff. Like, what I learned from him was how to be a really good entrepreneur in a lot of ways. Like, the way I spoke to my team was different. The way I thought about them was different. The way I worked with them and tried to, like, he was very, like, empathetic to everybody he was around. He really got, like, each person's situation. And so I became a much better leader from seeing him lead 200 people for a day, or however many people he's got, 800 people, I don't even know. But I watched him lead all of those people all day long, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, that's it. That's how you do it. And so I became a much better leader from that guy. I mean, a much better marketer because of the stuff he showed us. But watching him lead people, you're like, oh my gosh, this is a successful guy that knows how to do it and knows how to take care of people. And I already thought I was doing it, but I was nowhere near the level of this guy. So the way he led people changed me significantly. Like, if you go back 10 years and the people that I led then and the way I lead people now, it's a different world. Like, I've had to call those people and say, I'm sorry, I sucked. Like, I legit sucked. I was not a leader for you. And that's a hard thing to do. Like, I was terrible, and now I'm different, and I've changed, and I've become a better person. And I would bet every person that works for me would say, yes, that guy loves me and cares about me and works hard for me, not only his business and his family, but for me as a person. And so, like, when you take care of people like that, they will work so hard for you. And do I make mistakes? Yeah, all the time. It happens. And I got to apologize. But, I mean, when I wake up, I usually am like, how can I take care of these people today? Because they're working so hard.
He's getting the call. That do not disturb ain't working for you, is it?
I tried everything. I set like
That's okay.
the do not disturb, the bedtime do not disturb, everything.
It's all good, no problem. You know what you just said right there. I'm very glad that I heard, and I hope that one day I can look back and see the growth in my leadership skills. Because honestly, right now they suck. Right? I'm so wired to just get it done and learn how to do it and get it done that I struggle with teams and telling people what to do and stuff like that. So I hope to God that one day I can look back and be like, okay, I've really grown there. So you said you had to call some people. It makes me think I need to call some people and apologize right now. So I may do that today. Anyways, moving on. Good stuff, Blake.
I'll tell you one thing, Eric. Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
All right. So, I lost it. I don't come back. Go ahead. Go with your question.
Okay. Hopefully it was a gold nugget to teach me
It's
something.
a gold nugget.
Well, let me know when it comes back. So
Okay.
kind of switching gears a little bit. So if, and I think a lot of people see you and know he's like, oh, he's got a camera guy. He's got people who does the work for him. He's all over Facebook. He's everywhere, right? And they see Gary Vee and he's like, I swear to God, I cannot turn on my phone without seeing Gary Vee pop up. Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram, YouTube, all over the place. That's cool. Let's say that somebody right now is starting out and they're like, I have $1,000 to invest in marketing, advertising. What would you say would be a good use of an extra $1,000 for somebody who's trying to step their game up?
I would do one of two things. If you know Facebook, if you know social media marketing decent, then I would make a video that is your best platform, your best following that you have. I'd make a video that talked about exactly what you want to sell to the people that follow you, and I'd make it right, and then hopefully have a little bit left over to use it on
the advertising cost. Yeah, I agree.
If you don't know how to use those platforms and their ads, then I would take $100 times 10, I'd run 10 different ads on 4 different platforms at $100 a piece and see which one works best.
Nice.
And then you find your best people, your best following, or your best engagement, and then you start using money on that one. Because that's exactly what I do. I'd run 10 different ads, 10 different ways on 4 different platforms and see which one did the best.
I agree 100%. A lot of people that I've worked with, right, and keep in mind, like, I'm new to this video production, advertising world, and I'm working with the people that I'm working with. They want to make videos, right? So I make videos for them, and I'm like, and I keep trying to tell them, like, hey, there's a whole nother world to this right here that you haven't even tapped into yet, and it's the advertising piece. Right. So tell me, Blake, from your experience, what's your experience, or what would your suggestion be to somebody who doesn't necessarily understand the difference between just the video content and the actual advertising piece of it? Speak to that a little bit.
Oh my gosh. If you're making a video and then not advertising with it, it's so pointless. The only people that saw it were, especially if you're doing a Facebook video, like Facebook videos are the king for advertising right now. Some YouTube pre-rolls are really good if you find the right stuff. But, like, basically most businesses, because a lot are late to the game, so they've seen videos forever, and now they're like, I got to make a video for Facebook that's going to help us grow our business. If you do nothing with it afterwards, it was basically a waste of money, is my opinion, because the only people that are going to see it is your couple hundred followers on your page, and then the families of the people who are in it. Yep. And that's it. You're going to get 2,000 to 4,000 views, because it's your first one, so Facebook will let you, they'll push it a little bit more, yep. But after that, you're not going to get anything.
Yep.
So if you don't take that video and make it to where when you post it, that you can use that as an ad later to hit the people you want to hit over and over and over and over again, then it's just really pointless. Like, you're not going to do much with it. No one cares. Like, we're hit with so much information now. It's not 8 years ago, like when I first started doing video, where I post a video and everybody's going to see it for 4 days because it's just how it was. There's no other content. We're overwhelmed with content. So for yours to be different, you got to do something for them to stop scrolling and then watch it, which is really hard to do. So you got to really drill down into the people that you want to speak to so they stop and watch it.
Yep.
So making a video is nothing. You got to know how to advertise that video afterwards, and you got to make one that's worth advertising afterwards, or it's still pointless.
Yep. And it's like that process right there takes so much time and patience and tweaking and just, accepting the fact that some humility, like what my best idea may not resonate some of the times. But, and I'm a big fan of like testing different stuff out, trying different messages, seeing what resonates with people. So good deal, man. I'm glad you were able to speak on that a little bit.
I have two good friends that I'll tell you have done a great job. So like Scott Green has figured out a way to show his personality, and he barely talks insurance in any of the stuff he does. He does silly pictures. He did the trivia thing with you last week. Like, that stuff, his business is behind it, and people know that's what he does, and they're going to know to call him. Like, he brought them entertainment on a platform like Facebook that is for entertainment. It's not usually for information.
Yep.
And so Scott has done a really good job with that. And then Jeff Foreman, who's another insurance guy in town, he's really good with, he loves the community, and he wants to make it, he wants to do things for it. So he highlights nonprofits. And so those two dudes have done something that is really good. Neither has anything to do with their business, any of the stuff that they do. But they show the community their personality and what they care about, and people then learn about them and then want to use them. They're not just trying to sell them something, they're trying to show them like who they are as a person, and if you're someone they want to work with. Because people, Simon Sinek, I learned this from him about 5 years ago. One of the first things I learned from him was people want to, I got it on my phone. I keep losing all my sweet things. It's basically people want to, dang it, Eric, I'm losing everything. I'll get it in a minute.
It'll come.
I got 2 things to give you now.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. People don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it.
Yep.
They buy why you do it. So don't tell people what you do. Tell them why you're doing it.
There it is. That's the gold nugget right there.
That's it. That's the stuff.
Good deal, my man. So tell me, from the outside looking in, you seem like a very well-rounded, you love Springfield, you love entrepreneurs, you love your family. Like, give me some, what is Blake Shaffer not good at? Like, what do you suck at?
What do I suck at?
What do you suck at, Blake? Give me something good.
I'm really terrible at cooking. I'm terrible at being tall. I'm terrible at I'm terrible at my response in the moment. That's what I'm probably the worst at. When someone tells me something I don't want to hear, like an employee tells me something I don't want to hear, right away, I'm trying to get better at it. Right away I'll respond wrong, and then I'll quickly fix it and apologize. But I often have to apologize because I'll respond so quickly in frustration, and I'm trying not to be that kind of person. And that's just kind of the way my family is. Like when someone says something to you in my family, that's how we grew up. If you're not okay with it, you tell them right then and there you're mad about it. Yeah. And that doesn't go well when you're an employee. And then they're like, wait, what? I thought you cared about me, and I'm just telling you something, and now you're upset with it, and that doesn't go well, and I have to apologize. So I've learned to do that. Another thing is, like, we all have super things, stuff we all suck at, and, like, dang, man, I'm, like, saying stuff that's, like, real. Like, that's real. Like, I suck at sometimes in the moment, and I apologize, and I'll make myself right, and I'm not afraid to apologize, but the other thing is, like, we just, like, gosh, it's crazy to say these things to people, but, like, yeah, dude, like, for me to tell people, like, out there, everywhere right there, when someone comes to me as an employee, like, I had an employee come to me about a month ago and said, hey, I'm not going to be able to do this thing that you wanted me to go to, I responded with, how could you ever make that decision? That's not what's right for you. And they're like, what? How could you say that to me? Like, you don't, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I completely righted myself and told them, like, I'm so sorry, I did not mean that. I care about you, I was wrong. And then the other thing that as you grow up, like, that no one built into me and mentored me, but I was always really bad at, like, gossiping or saying bad things about people. Like, legit, I can't believe I'm telling people out there, but, like, I'm telling people, like, I would just say stuff about people and, like, it was okay. And so, like, I have had to correct myself so many times, and in the last, like, 3 years, I've told myself, like, I'm not going to say anything bad about anybody anymore, ever, no matter how bad I want to, because we all want to at times. Like, and if you're, like, a person like me that's type A and goes for everything and leaves, like, all their things, like, everything you see is right here. And so I would often, like, say things about people like, I can't believe they're like that, or why would they do that? That's so stupid. And I'm like, whoa, that gets back to people. And the way my personality works is I just say it, and then everybody forgives me because I forgive everybody else. But everybody doesn't forgive you until they know who you really are. And so I've become a much better person and trying to be never saying bad things about people. And also trying to, when something happens or someone says something that isn't what I want, I'm going to respond the right way and not respond in frustration. So those are legit problems that I have that I'm trying to work through and become a better person. So that's some real life legit stuff right there.
Good. Well, I can attest to. I've known you for about a year, maybe a little over a year, and we spent a little bit of time together. That's one I have not witnessed from you. So you must be doing a good job working on that stuff right there.
Okay.
Kudos to you, Blake. Great job. Next question. Next question. What are you curious about right now? Like, what are some things that what are you studying? What are you learning about? What are you doing? Like, what's your next big move? Like, what's your plan?
You already know what I'm going to say.
I want you to say it again.
What am I going to say?
Yeah. I want you to say it.
What?
It was one of the questions. So okay, you were talking about how you're adapting, right, to the business environment we're in, right? How you're adapting to serve your clients, right? And how you're about to you spoke about how this new loan that everyone's tapped into, there's a way that if you do some things the right way, you don't have to pay that back as much. And that's what you're learning about right now, right?
Yeah.
Share a little bit more.
No. Yeah, so, well, we put together this really sweet program, and we're going to go on Facebook and LinkedIn, and we're going to run ads like crazy to put business owners specifically, and hopefully it works really well. But the thing I'm most excited about that I was trying to get you to say is you already know what I'm most excited about.
The TikTok.
I want to do TikTok.
Okay,
and so
how many, as of this moment, how many followers do you have?
It's close to 220,000. So, and our LWS page has 12 to 15. I haven't looked at it in a couple of days. Has a lot of followers. So the thing about TikTok is it reminds me a lot of Facebook 2000.
Getting another call.
There was a lot of people. Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. You're good.
Okay. So Facebook 2010 is TikTok right now. Facebook 2010, there was a lot of people on there watching everything, but no one was making anything. And so I was one of the first people making things, and then I got a lot of basically land, I try to call it. You got a bunch of land on Facebook. So when I post something, more people see it. Yeah. And so I'm doing that on TikTok. And so TikTok is everyone would laugh. It's a bunch of 15-year-old, middle school, and high school kids. Nobody's going to watch your stuff. It's pointless. But in 8 years, everyone's going to have an account, or at least the people that I built on this will follow me to the next one. Because it's weird, because now YouTube is quickly changing. If you guys don't know, that they will soon have a platform for less than 1 minute videos that will be inside YouTube, but will be separate from the regular YouTube feed. And so the people that you follow will now have their quick videos like TikTok and their longer form videos. So YouTube already sees how important TikTok is, that they're changing everything that they have to match it. And so TikTok is, I think, number one on the app download store, on the App Store for like the last 8 months. And so if you're not there trying to figure out how to become an influencer or how to grow your business around the following on there, I think it's kind of crazy, because I think everyone will be on it in a couple of years like, man, I should have used this moment to jump on there and build as many followers as I could for my company, so that when everybody's here, and it is a normal thing now, you could get a lot of business out of it. So I'm hoping we have 1 million followers by the end of the year. That's the plan.
You're killing it, my man. That's awesome. Good stuff. And, I think that, one thing I struggle with is I think that, the content has to be about the business. It has to be about what you do. It has to be about how you help people. But one thing that I'm learning, and it's so hard for me to accept and adapt to, is that it's not all about what you do. It's not about how you help people. Just like how you said earlier, your life. What do you like to do for fun? I love watching, my wife, Brittany, she follows you. The TikTok thing, I'm not quite there yet, but my wife, she's on it, and she showed me the other day. She's like, check it out, Blake's live. And I'm like, you're just on there, man, talking about your family, your love of life, you know what I'm saying? Staying at home. And I'm like, my dude is crushing it. That is good stuff, man. That's what's up. But for some reason, and this thing right here, I'll say, how does that work? And I see it, right? I see it. I see what you're doing. I see how you're doing it. But I think, how will that work for me, right? So, and I know we've already had this conversation. I gave you that, I'm going to do it every day for 30 days, which did not happen. So,
Didn't do it.
None of us are perfect, my man. But, dude, you're crushing it, man. I think that, regardless of the economy or what comes up or what comes down, man, like, you're one of the dudes that I look up to. I respect you, not just because of the business or the marketing, just like who you are as a person, right? Accepting that, you're able to talk about the flaws, talk about the things you're able to improve on, the love for the city, all that stuff. But we've got a few questions on here, so I'm gonna put one up on the screen. It says Angela says, Blake, Blake would love a top 5 strategy on taking care of your team. Blake, if you could rattle them off top of your head, give us 5 strategies for taking care of your team. 5 tips.
Oh man. Buy them lunch all the time and sit and listen to them, whether that's one-on-one or not. Make their birthday a big deal. Find out their love language so you can show them how much you care about them through the way that they receive it. And I don't know if I can get to 5, but if you do those things and then you sit down often and show them that you care about them, because you do as a business owner and the owner, if you don't care about your employees, you freaking suck. Like, why you even got employees? Like, if you need to care about them or want to care about them, and most entrepreneurs do, but sit down with them and just talk about their life, figure out what's going on. And it's difficult to do because we're busy. But if you want, I'll give you 3 really important ones. Okay. Take them to lunch, find out what their love language is, and make their birthday a big deal. You do those 3 things, they will love you.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. And then our man Dana says, I love that one of the biggest takeaways from Marketing Monday was based on leadership skills. Trending marketing tips, tricks have zero basis on your longevity if you don't build your personal fundamentals. Most definitely. So I will share out loud. That's what I'm personally going to be working on. It's one thing, like, this whole business world is like, it's crazy, man. Like, there's just so much stuff to do. This thing never, ever, ever turns off. So, like, I'm constantly thinking about stuff. It's to the point where it's hard for me to have a conversation with somebody. It's hard for me to think about different things that other people care about sometimes. Not because I'm like, this self-centered, egotistical SOB, but it's like, it's just, this thing doesn't stop. But, like, I know that as I grow, right, as I pursue my growth, my personal growth, professional growth, like the leadership, man, that's like, and building the team, it's where it's at. So good stuff, my man. Angela said, thanks for the tips, Blake. She appreciates it. Dude, this was good stuff. You got anything you want to share before we hop off here? We've been live 40 minutes. Anything you want to share that you didn't get a chance to?
Yes. So this is the most important thing, I think, when it comes to marketing, at least.
Let's hear it.
You need to wake up every day and go, all right, I'm going to start a competitive business against my own business. What would I do today to put my business out of business? Then you need to do that every single day. And if you wake up and think that, like, how can I put my own business out of business? And do that, you will never stop growing, and no one's going to come around, especially in a local community, and beat you, because you're already beating yourself every day to get to that next level. And so I think that's the most important thing, because as business owners, we get kind of like set in a thing, and then here comes competition, and they're better than us because they want to beat us. Where you're going to be hard to beat if you're beating yourself every day.
Yep.
So that's kind of where I try to be.
Good deal, my man. I like that. What you got on the agenda the rest of the day? What's the rest of the day look like for you?
Lunch, maybe a bike ride with my daughter.
Beautiful.
We'll see. And then I have an hour training on how we're going to help businesses get the entire PPP loan forgiven, which will be huge to help people save thousands and thousands of dollars that we're going to then push out this program to help them save money. And then it's back to tax returns and helping people get their stimulus money and file for SBA loans, and then do some marketing. So I got a lot to do.
Good deal, my man. I appreciate your time, Blake. I was looking forward to this. I think I'm going to try to do these at least twice a month. It's hard to commit to a weekly thing, but I'm going to commit to twice a month and see how it goes from there. But for number one, I couldn't think of anybody better. My man, you crushed it. I appreciate the value that you dropped today. I appreciate everything about you. So, folks, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Done.
All right. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, brother.